Every year, thousands of hikers flock to the mountains in the summertime in order to take their summer vacation. And hundreds, if not more, find themselves lost. They set off on a day hike. They hardly took any supplies with them. No food. If they're lucky, they took some sort of shelter. And then next thing you know, nature runs its course, and they find themselves just caught in a really bad situation. So that's what I'm going to do today. I am putting myself in the position of a lost hiker with hardly any gear. We're going to see if I can make it through. I'm El Director. This is El Director Vision, and you're watching Surviving the Wild. Woo!
Our adventure begins like a typical hiker. We start in Eureka, Montana and head up an old mining road. Our goal? To hike up and over the mountains into the Ten Lakes wilderness.
It's a beautiful day for a hike. I've been working at my present job for about a year now, just over a year. So I had acquired some vacation time. And I thought, what better way than to come back home to Montana and do some hiking. I'm actually on an old mining road right now. You can see this way right here. In fact, there are some mines up ahead on here that we'll probably stop and take a look at, and everything's pretty cool. But man, I was hoping it was going to be nice and sunny and everything like that, but it's starting to rain now. And this kind of has me worried a little bit. So, anyway, yeah, like I said, it's beautiful day. Otherwise, the temperature feels good. I mean, it's raining and I don't have a jacket on. I got a jacket in the pack, but yeah, let's keep on cruising here. We'll see if we can find some of these mines. I've never been in a mine before, so this should be fun. Alright guys, check it out. You can see the weather's kind of been closing in. It's doing its own weird thing. There's a little bit of blue right there, but a lot of this is cloud. It's still raining, but check it out. I found the mine right here. So we're going to check this out here. I do have a headlamp with me. So I'm going to grab that, grab a phone to take pictures, grab the better video camera, and of course the gun, because I don't know what I'm going to find in here. So let's check this out. Hello? Hello? Keep her back. Man, this thing stinks. It smells like weed or something in here. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this at all. This goes back for quite a ways. It's kind of spooky, to be honest. But, you know, if I needed to get out of the rain, this would be a great place to do it. There's no signs of power or anything like that up here. It's all headlamp light at this point. Obviously, I'm not the first one to be here. There's garbage and crap. Back, keep her back. Wow. This is a mine. I don't know what they used to mine. Sorry, it's so blurry, my camera won't focus. There we go.
I would later learn that they had mined copper in these mines.
Pretty creepy. I would make do here if I had to. But I think there's better options. But how cool is that, though? I've never been in a mine before. I've been in caves. Done some spelunking and that kind of stuff, but never in a mine. This is this is cool. I guess I can put the pistol away. Don't need that. Back to daylight. That's really cool. Alright, well, I've been hiking for about an hour now. As you can see, it's coming up on 11 o'clock. And I'm gonna take a water break and we'll continue hiking up the trail. See what else we can find on this very cool hiking adventure for my summer vacation. Check it out, guys. The 49th parallel, international boundary between Canada and the United States. We're in the Kootenay National Forest, as you can see. There's a lot of signatures and dates up here. I'm gonna go add mine here in a second, probably. But for those of you guys who've never seen this border before, it is about, I don't know, 30 feet roughly of clear cut straight across, and you can see it just goes all the way down the side of the mountain. And as I push in, I can follow it all the way up there. Keeps going, keeps going. I mean, you can see there's a hard line back into the trees there. Keeps crossing, crosses the Kootenay, keeps going up into the distance down there. So this is cool. This is an international boundary, and literally the mining road I've been hiking just brought me right up onto it. So that's kind of cool. But I mean, look at this. It's awesome. And then it goes all the way up the side of the mountain that way too. Up there, boom. So, I mean, this is how easy it is to cross. And I don't have my passport with me, but okay, watch. This is United States. And now I'm in Canada. Ta-da! Hey, welcome. So, pretty cool. Man, out here, you gotta watch where you even just sit down sometimes. I thought this was gonna be a nice dry spot to sit and have a lunch break. And I found myself disturbing an ant's nest and had them crawling all over me. Kind of freaked me out. Whew. This hike is brutal. I thought it was gonna be like 5 miles. Trailhead said 8.5. But the good news is, I think I'm down to about 3 miles to go to get to Wolverine Lakes, which is where I'm headed today on this little outing. But check this out, found what I think, hang on, Keyper. I got the dog tied up to me. This Keyper, and she's tied to my waistband right here. It's called dog assist, but check it out. It's like another mine or something. And with, stop those there. With this covering on top, it's actually nice and dry inside. If I needed to get out of the rain or something like that, this is a perfect pre-made shelter. And in fact, it looks like somebody else has already done this because there's a campfire right there. So, yeah, this is a great find. I'm assuming this was a mine at one point. I'm not sure, to be honest. I've never seen a structure like this before, and I know this area is littered with old mines. But, yeah, if anyone knows what this actually is, let me know in the comments below. For those of you at home wondering why I've got my dog tied up like this, it's because there are grizzly bears out here. In fact, it was on a road just like this about 2 years ago that I had my first run-in face-to-face with a grizzly. Keyper and I were off walking, and we heard something big crashing through the bushes. I looked up, and about 10, maybe 15 feet away from me, there's this big old brown grizzly head looking at me from out of the brush. Keyper's hackle goes up. I tried to grab her before she could take off after it. Grabbed the gun and the camera at the same time. And then when I looked back up, the bear was gone. Those things move fast. And so by keeping her tied to me right now as we're off here on this mining road, I know that that's one less thing I have to worry about. And it allows me to go for the camera and the gun and not have to worry about the dog if we come face to face with a big critter like that again. Now check this out. We are on the back side of the mountain range. So up over the mountain there is actually where Eureka is. That's the side I came up from. There's a pass back that way that I came through. And so now looking down this way, through there, that's 10 Lakes, the wilderness area. And basically 10 Lakes kind of butts up against Glacier National Park as well. So I'm really, at this point, in the backyard of Glacier, which is really cool. And it took, just 2 hours to hike up and over the mountain to get to this point. In the meantime, as I keep hiking here, there's some goat's beard, and it's actually dry, so I'm going to take advantage of this like crazy because it's been raining all day, but I'm hoping that a lot of the heavy clouds stopped up against the other side of the mountain range there, because looking over here, I'm actually seeing some blue sky and such. There it is. So that's good, but just in case, I'm gonna grab a couple handfuls of this in case I need to get a fire going later. I've been walking now, you know, it's been 3 hours. I'm starting to drag. I mean, it's brutal. We've climbed a couple thousand feet up. Now I'm kind of gradually coming down as I've come over the pass. But I found a way to get my blood sugar back up. Check it out. My favorite survival food, the wonderful, glorious huckleberry. And these things are big too. I mean, look at it. Compared to my thumbnail, it's a monster berry. I'll eat this one on camera. That is so good. I'm going to rape this plant here of all the berries, if that is such a term, and get my blood sugar back up because I really need it right now. Excuse me. This is why you have to be so careful when you are exploring mine shafts. And you can see, I saw this rock wall that was made from when rocks were being pulled out of this, and you can see all the lumber and the timbers that were used to support the roof at one point, and it's just totally collapsed on itself now. It's scary. But we're up in another pass here, about to come into the Wolverine Basin, which should be just over this hill. I've been at it now 4 hours and 23 minutes, and I'm exhausted beyond belief. It's a good thing I planned on having to spend the night out here. Simulating a lost hiker, but in my case I planned on it. Because man, it would be brutal to climb up all this and then come back down. It's insane. Dog's getting so tired. But we should press on. Alright guys, check it out. We made it to the top of the pass. And you can see behind me there, it's all wilderness. Back that way on the other side of those big mountains is Glacier Park on the other side of those. And right now, I'm looking down at Bat Lake right there. And then the Wolverines are around here, I believe just a little bit that way. That's where I want to go to the Wolverines. But this is some rugged territory. That trail that just came up down there, probably one of the most brutal trails that I've ever done. But it's fun, it's well worth it. And man, it will really test your endurance. But I can't stay up here on the face of the mountain. I'm exposed, there's no water. The berries have become far and few in between. But I know if I can get down to Wolverine Lake, one, I got water. Two, probably more wood for shelter, shelter and firewood. And then probably gonna be able to get some fish out of that lake too. So anyway, yeah, let's do this because I gotta get off the face of this thing. It's 2:30 right now. Sun's been setting about 8:30, I believe. So I got a little bit of time, but still, I would rather get down sooner than later because I'm looking at all this cloud cover, and you can see these mountain peaks come almost right up to the clouds. And this could dump on me any minute now. That was what the forecast was saying. And truth be told, that's what happens to a lot of hikers. You know, they start off on a day hike, like I did, and you know, everything's going fine, but then they're getting tired, and then the weather sets in. And so the question is, how do you proceed from there? Alright, well, it's now 3:15. I've made it to one of the Wolverine Lakes. And now I'm just looking for a spot to set up my camp tonight. Preferably one where I'll have berries and access to the lake for fishing and water and stuff like that. I also need firewood. And most importantly of all, if it dumps on me tonight, I need to make sure I can stay dry. So here's what I'm looking at the moment. There's this overhang right here from the tree. That could make a very good shelter potentially. So I'm gonna investigate that here, I think, and see what that does. In the meantime though, I need to drop this pack. Keyper's food is heavy. Well, In survival, there's a rule. If you sweat, you die. And I'm sweating pretty bad, so hopefully this doesn't mean I'm gonna die tonight. So I think first thing I'm gonna do here is take off the wet shirt. This is an Old Navy performance fleece. I feel great now. It's so much warmer. There's a slight breeze coming that I need to be mindful of. And then we'll hang this up to dry somewhere. Maybe right there, I guess. Okay. The ground is really wet right now too, but fortunately this is pretty dry, I think. Yeah, it's dry on the inside, so that's going to be good for starting fire here in a little bit. So, fire, not my number one priority right now. Number one priority is going to be just looking at the weather at this point. What am I going to do if it rains? Now, when I do go out on day hikes alone, I guess we should put, we'll deal with these in a second. One of the things I've started carrying now, and you guys saw it on the last video, the father and son special, is my hex tarp, because it doesn't weigh very much and it packs up really small. It makes sense to just throw this in your backpack, because this gives me instant water protection. So I'm looking now over here at that log that I showed you guys, the down tree, and I think I can maybe turn that into a decent shelter in conjunction with this and still be able to keep the fire nearby so I can stay warm, because obviously I don't have a sleeping bag. So I guess we'll see what goes on with all this here. First though, I need to knife up and gun up. For a blade this trip, I'm carrying the Bear Grylls Ultimate Pro Survival Knife. I love this thing. Performed extremely well on my last trip with my dad, and so I'm carrying it now. And because of this knife, I don't even feel the urge to carry a hatchet anymore either. And that's actually how I came across the knife. As I was searching for hatchets, I came across the Bear Grylls hatchet, and I was like, okay, well that's cool. And then there was a video link on the YouTube thing I was watching that hooked me over to the knife, and I fell in love with the knife. Cool. Lots of life out here. I like that. Alright. Got the 44. We're going to undo this and flip it to make it easier to grab. We're all set. It just occurred to me that if this was a reel, let me tilt you down a little bit here. If this was a real Lost Hiker scenario, first thing I'd want to do, the smartest thing to do, would be to actually go through my supplies. So let's take a look at what I got here first. Got about 32 ounces of water, roughly right now, between the two bottles. Both of them are about half full. So, and that's clean water I can drink right now without having to treat or do anything with in some form. Got the tarp. Got a very basic first aid kit consisting of a whole bunch of ibuprofen and 2 packets of emergency vitamin C mix. It's called Emergency. And then on the way in, I came across this old tin can, so I was like, cool, I can use this to boil water and things. It's so hard to go anywhere these days without finding some sign of other people having been there. I also keep 1 trash bag, and I've got my survival kit inside a red bandana. Now, the red bandana is so I can use this for signaling purposes if I needed to. And then, get to the kit here. Inside here, I've got some snare wire, I've got a sewing kit, I've got some fishing line, I've got fish hooks, cotton balls, matches, and bullets, and flies, all inside the Altoid tin. So this is like the ultimate thing. Whenever I go out in the woods, I carry this, I carry a knife with me. If I have these things, I'm gonna be good, because I also have the flint as well for starting fire. And then, of course, as you saw, the knife has a built-in flint as well. And I have a hat in case it gets cold. I do have a rain jacket because it was raining when I started the hike, as you saw earlier on the video. And then, of course, we got the 44 mag, loaded with my 300 grain bear rounds. Take a look at those suckers. These things will stop the bear dead in its tracks, and I wouldn't trust anything less than a 357 against a bear. But with the 44, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable. And then, of course, we got the survival knife, which you guys saw me stick on here just a little bit ago, and that thing is razor sharp at the moment. So now the key is, now that I've taken inventory of what I've got, using this to affect my survival for the next couple days, however long I'm going to be out here. So I think we'll work on the shelter at the moment and go from there. Like I said, it's all about priorities, and as we already saw in the book, we'll be good to go. One of the things you really want to make sure you keep in mind with shelter building and such is that you block the prevailing wind. And when I crawled inside here, I noticed the wind was coming straight in through this way. So I'm going to build up this barricade here and basically put a wind block in place. That's also going to help trap some of the heat from the fire, because what I'm going to do is have the fire right here, and then that will bounce off my reflector in there. It'll bounce off the windbreak here, and I'll probably put another reflector up right here to help trap all that heat inside there as much as I possibly can. I'll probably fill this in a little bit more too, and to help bounce the heat back and such. So I should be able to sleep relatively warm. But yeah, you got to make sure that you account for the wind. A lot of times you don't think about that. Like the last time I was out here in Montana, you guys saw in episode 7, I had that little shelter set up, and then came the wind and it's flapping it like crazy. So definitely don't want a repeat of that incident this time. That's looking a lot better. It's not perfect yet, but it's definitely a good starting point. But you can see from the inside, there's still a lot of sunlight coming through. So it looks a lot better from the outside, but I think another couple handfuls and that'll be good. But right now, I want to get the tarp up and then get my bed down, because I've got enough of a windbreak here that I'm comfortable with that. But now I need to make sure I can stay dry and make sure I'm up off the ground. And if you look at this is all really dry dirt from underneath this. So I'm actually going to lay underneath the tree here, and that's going to become my bed for tonight. Alright, well, check it out. I strung up the tarp here between a couple trees, and I decided to go under the log just for some added protection. And this is going to work out pretty well. I threw some rotted logs up there again to help act as a bigger windbreak. And so now at this point, what I need to do is get a whole lot of pine boughs to make a nice spongy bed area in here, and then figure out where I can safely have a fire without burning my tarp, but still maintaining heat from it. And right now I'm kind of looking at maybe right here, but man, it's awfully close to this thing. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But I really don't have any other choice at this point. So we'll try it out. Well, it's finally starting to look like home. I'm getting well, I'll show you here. Got a fire pit built. Got a nice soft bed. Got my waterproof tarp going on here. And I think this will work pretty well. Now I just gotta figure out where to stick the dog, where to stick firewood. I'm thinking dog here, firewood there. It gives some natural protection this way. So I'll put the dog right there by the fire too. And then, well, actually, I gotta be careful because this is gonna be my entrance over here. I gotta clear out some of these thorny bushes. So, plan for the next hour. It's 5 o'clock right now. Plan until 6 is to get a fire going, and then hopefully try to catch some fish or something like that. I want to ration off the Cliff Bars that I got for when I really need the energy boost and stuff. So I may go to bed hungry tonight. I'm not sure, but don't worry. Keyper has food. I carried a lot of her food up here, but I'll be going hungry unless I can pull something out of this lake. But I'm quite happy with this. This should be pretty good. One of the things I really like as far as tip-wise in that survival guide, which I don't have in here with me right now, is that he makes the statement that whenever you light a match, light a candle. Well, most hikers and backpackers don't carry candles with them. But what I carry is I've got my trek pole, and on the trek pole I have some duct tape. What most people don't know is that duct tape will burn like a candle, which will allow you to get a fire going fairly easily. So all I'm going to do is pull some of this off. And what this is going to be good for is, well, I'll show you here in a moment. I don't know if it matters sticky side in or out. I'm going to go sticky side in just because I'm going to be trying to use this thing like a match. And you just kind of twist it into like a loose tube like that, see? Now, you might just be the one hiker that decided to grab a handful of matches with him on the way out. However, through the course of hiking, one of them is broken. So, or maybe all of them broken except one, so you've only got one good match. But don't throw this away, you can still use it to help light your other one. And then, once we get this lit, I'm going to take it down and we'll light the candle here. So, let's pull this down here like this. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to take and pinch my thumb on both of them here. I'm going to strike the two heads against each other. Now, some people would say, well, that's a waste of a match because you could strike this on something else. Yeah, you could, but I've snapped off more heads than I can talk about on rocks and pieces of wood and things like that. I'm not a very good fire guy when it comes to matches, but this is the way I do know how to do it. And yeah, so I'm going to strike them against each other. There we go. Cradle the flame, and then light your candle. But now, over to the fire pit. With this going, hopefully, because as you can see now, this is burning a lot longer than a match would.
When I was a kid, my father used to play games with my brother and I, having us practice starting a fire with one match. He told us that someday we might find ourselves in a situation where all we had is one match, and it was important to learn how to get a fire going in that kind of scenario. Over the years I've continued playing this game, and now as you can see, with the help of items like a duct tape candle, it becomes quite easy, and is no longer so much of a challenge.
And with fire taken care of, it's time to focus on dinner, I think. Because it'd be nice to have some food in my belly tonight. I know there are cutthroat trout in this lake because I fished it before with Miles back in episode 5. We hiked up here one day. We didn't camp at this lake, but we hiked to it. And then we did catch a few fish and had some for lunch. So I've got a few options. I'm going to focus on the fish right now. I have heard some squirrels, I've heard bears, so I've got snare wire. Bear? I don't even know what I'm saying. See, I'm so hungry right now. I'm just babbling. But take a look in here. This is my survival tin. This goes everywhere with me. Strapped to the outside, I have a stick with some fishing line on it. And then inside, I carry a couple Band-Aids, a bunch of cotton balls for fire starting. That would have been nice. And then I've got a whole bunch of fishing flies. You can see right here, here. And I've got some other bolts for the 9mm and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a fly that I think will work well, and we'll rig up some fishing gear and see what happens here. Now I know there's a lot of mosquitoes around on this lake. I've also seen some bees too. I hope. Man, I'm watching the fire kind of lick its way up towards my tarp here, and I'm breaking all sorts of survival rules by doing this with the tarp. But I need to stay warm tonight, and this is all I've got with me. So I'm banking on if I do it right, I can stay really warm. But if I do it wrong, this thing's going up in flames. It's gonna melt, and that'll be the end of that. Fortunately, it was only $35. I can get a new one, but still, it'd be nice to make your things last too. And we'll just undo the rubber band here, which is now toast. Bummer. And we got the fishing line. Okay, so I think today I'm going to start with a leech. And then I'm just going to use what I call a normal fishing knot. I don't know the actual name for it. Is it polymer? I don't know. But anyway, you twist the line a couple times, and you feed it through the loop. And there's other YouTube videos that will go into much more detail on this for you guys. They're hardcore about, oh, what's he doing? This is just not that my dad taught me. It tends to work pretty well. Ow. And we're ready to go fishing.
Unfortunately, this lake is very shallow around the edges, and without some decent fishing tackle or a raft to get myself out into the center, it can be difficult to get your lure deep enough in order to catch some fish. But fortunately, God was smiling upon me this day, and I did manage to pull something from shore.
Woo, that didn't take long. I got a little guy. Let's see. And there you go, it's as simple as that. Alright, man, the wind is really picking up. This is not going to be a fun night. In any case, though, I'm going to take my little fish right now. I've got a line out there right now. Hopefully I can get another one. But in the meantime, we'll take this fish and try to clean it the best we can. It's a little guy. Usually I would throw it back, but I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to make fish stew with a little pine needle accent. And funny story as I'm cleaning this guy here, I created a bobber with a bigger stick and stuff like that, threw the whole thing out there, and the reel, the little stick reel, went flying out of my hands. And it's a good 20 feet from shore. I thought, oh man, what am I going to do? And I ended up, was able to point to it, and Keyper went to go get it for me. What a good little girl. I was so surprised. She's never done anything like that before. So the fact that she was able to know what I needed and went to go get it for me was really, really neat. Okay, and so in that honor, I'm going to give her the guts. Keyper. Keyper girl, you want some guts? That's for you. That is because you went to go get the fish. So, fish in the pot, as you can see, I hope. And I'm gonna add some pine needles. It's not much, but it should taste okay. I think because the shore here is really, really shallow, unlike the other spot out here at Bluebird, which is where I was at in episode 5. And because of this, I think that tomorrow I may need to build some sort of raft and get out in the middle of the lake, and I can do my fishing from there, because this just is not going to cut it. I'm going to bring some more reels here too, and I'm cooking at my camp and stuff, but again, what other options do I have?
The bond that my dog and I shared is something I will never forget for the rest of my life.
Alright guys, it's 7 o'clock, and I'm winding down because I know I'm not going to get much sleep tonight, so because I'll be waking up, stoke the fire, wake up, stoke the fire, or if I run out of wood, I'll just be shivering like crazy. So the trick to staying warm is to layer up as much as you can. So I've got my t-shirt, sweatshirt, and this will be good for now, but when I start getting chilly, I'm going to put on my rain jacket as well. And then if it really comes down to it, I've got the space blanket. But it's this is not going to be a fun night. You know, something not a lot of people think about is that how much we take heat and shelter and protection for granted these days. Yeah, when you have nothing, it makes you realize just how precious the little things can be. I first learned this when I was living out of my car, and I had nothing at that point. You know, and it makes me be thankful, you know, right now in this situation. I mean, the sky's getting dark and stuff like that, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with the weather, but I've got my dog. I have a roof over our head. I've got fire for the time being, but even that's going to die out because I've thrown all the wood on top of it right now. My plan being to get a nice hot bed of coals, and all the rocks that are around the fire are going to get nice and warm, and then hopefully by the midnight or so I can start pulling them into me and sucking the warmth out of them that way. Whew, the wind changed direction. Now I'm getting a face full of smoke. I'm really not tearing up about what I'm saying, I swear.
Little did I know how sick that smoke would make me by morning.
I'm good right now. And if anything, I'm feeling too warm at the moment. With the jacket on, I'm tempted to take it off, but I know if I do,
It's not good. So I've got to unzip most of the way right now, and same with my fleece. It's unzipped. I'm trying to dry my shoes off at the moment from all the rain that we've been having. My feet are just soaked. So I'm trying to dry them off, dry the socks off on the inside. On the plus side, I've got smart wool socks, and they do stay warm even when wet. I can attest to that. And yeah, so that's working out really well. I just need these shoes to dry so I can not freeze off my feet tonight, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think tomorrow will just be a day of exploring a little and probably hanging out around this lake. I'm going to build a raft of sorts, I hope, and try to get out into the middle of the lake and do some fishing out there. See if I can't pull anything bigger than, like, you know, that. Well, he was more like that size, but still. I felt bad taking it, but in matters of survival, all creatures become fair game, and it's up to you to do whatever is necessary to make sure that you get through the ordeal that lays ahead of you. But I got my dog. I've got a little bit of food in my belly. Got a roof over my head if it rains or hails or who knows what. And yeah. That's good enough, I guess. I've managed to get this fire so hot that I've stripped down to my t-shirt. I took the hat off. I've taken my shoes off. This is incredible. Like, seriously, this shelter setup with the fire right there is awesome. It's got to be 50 degrees in the air right now. It's going to be in the 40s tonight. And in here, I feel like it's in the about 70 degrees. I wish I'd spent the time to gather more firewood, but live and learn, I guess. I mean, I know it's going to get cold tonight as the night goes on, just because I don't have enough firewood to keep the fire going, but I gotta let this thing die down a little bit because it's getting so hot in here that I'm about ready to leave the shelter, which is really cool. Like, that's a good thing, I would say, in a survival scenario. If you can get your fire that warm, that's going to keep you warm, and you can shed layers of clothing, and then put them back on as the night goes on. Like, that's good. Whoa, where did I go? There I am. Hello. The flames are dying down, which is why you're not able to see me anymore. But anyway, I just had to share that with you guys. Good morning. The pup and I made it through the night, and actually, miraculously, just barely had enough wood to make it all last. But I'm sitting here now, and I feel sick. I don't know what's going on. And so rather than... Is it raining again? It did rain a few times during the night. The shelter kept me dry, so that was good. But rather than try to stick it out another day, I'm toying with the idea of just self-rescuing. Because, yeah, I am not feeling well, so I could either wait it out and hope I get better and hike out tomorrow, which was the initial plan, or I try to hike out now. Alright, friends, well, I've made my decision. I'm going to go. Because I do not feel well. And it's raining now. I don't want to be stuck in this thing all day while I'm sick. So, it's like bile and stuff like that coming up. It's nasty stuff. Trying to figure out what would have caused it. All the water I've been drinking came from a well down on the other side of the mountains. I haven't even filled up my bottles since I've been here. A Cliff Bar and fish with pine needles last night. Maybe it was the pine needles that did it. I don't know. But this sucks. So I'm gonna tear down camp here and hit the trail. It's coming up on 8 o'clock here soon. It took 5 hours to hike in. Hopefully I can do less going out. Definitely was a cool adventure, though. I mean, exploring mine shafts and... Gosh, what else did I do yesterday? Going up to the border, that was cool. Catching a fish with my survival fishing gear, that was neat. Really putting the tarp through its paces. I did get a few little burn holes, nothing major though. I can probably patch those up with some tape or something when I get home. It was a good trip.
Keyper and I would continue to go on many day hikes and adventures after this trip, but unfortunately this was our last overnight trip together. Never take the ones you love for granted, because someday they will be gone. Cherish every moment you have with them.